Who's My Generation is oozing. It is bursting at the seams with tasty classic rock licks. It's like a cheese-filled pretzel bite you left in the oven just a little too long, or Mr. Creosote from that Monty Python sketch. It's wafer thin. And I'm going to show you these moves, and you can put them in your quiver and take them out into the world, and we're going to get into it. But first, I'd like to take a quick momentito to thank the following people for signing up for the Patreon supporter of the Cause Club. Misters Mark Parle, Jerry Schroyer III, and Chad Ashworth. Thank you very much for your support. And if you would like to find out what that's all about, the link will be in the description. The chords for the intro and the verse, the whole first chunk before the key change are G, like normal. But then it's a very curious chord. Now, when you play G7, this chord, right, what we've done is we've taken that G note and turned it into that F note. And there's nothing that says that G7 has to have an F in the high register of the chord, and in this song, it's in the low register of the chord. If you watch live at Leeds, the Who playing this, you'll see that Uncle Pete is a thumb guy, so he plays his G like this, and his G7 with an F in the bass like that. I'm not a thumb guy, so I'm going to use my middle finger and my pointer finger. And then you stop at G for the singing. The interlude at 26 seconds has a slightly different take on that. It's a G chord. I'm going to use my ring finger there, my middle finger there. I'm going to leave out the baby E string, and the B string is going to go 0, 1, 3, 1. So I'm going to describe where all these different things go, but they're all interchangeable, so you can put them anywhere you want or come up with your own. The interlude at 1 minute and 1 second has a slightly more fleshed out take on exactly the thing we just did. We're going to take our G chord, but we're going to turn it into an F-shaped G, so 3, 3, 4, 5. Then we're going to make it 5, 5, 5, so an A shape on D, G, B. And then the B string goes up 1, the G string goes up 1, and back down to the A shape. And what I mean by put these in your quiver and take them out into the world, you can do that move in any situation. You just have to take whatever the chord the band is playing, let's say it's C, in some hypothetical song. Then you find your F-shaped C up on 8, 9, 10, and you do the same move. Reset our ear balls. And that's how that works. At 1 minute and 6 seconds, Uncle Pete gets a little noodly with it. We're going to take the D string 5th fret, I'm going to use my middle finger, play that note. Then I'm going to grab G5, B5 with my ring and pinky fingers, give them both a bend, and down to 3, 3 on those two strings with my pointer finger. You do that twice, and resolve it to that G note. Now that is out of the G minor pentatonic scale. This song is all about the G chord up till this point, and the G minor pentatonic scale is a nice bluesy choice. It's 3, 6, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 6, 3, 6. So take note of what we're doing there. We're taking the B string and lowering it 1, and that's how you locate that riff. I want to point to another G move now that is not on the record, but Pete Townshend did do it at the Live at Leeds performance that I mentioned previously, and this points to the fact that this song is really just a template to jam over, and that move is this. It's going to be just the E string 3rd fret, that's a G, and the D string now is going to be O, 2, 3, 2. There's more that's different about the Live at Leeds thing, but I'm going to get to that later. At 1 minute 11 seconds, here's another G minor pentatonic move. We're going to start with that D string 5th fret, reaching for G5, slide up to 7, and then grab E6, that's that top note from our G minor pentatonic scale. And then the G string's going to go 5, 3, 5 slide up to 7, 2 7s there, and then 5-3 on the G string, 5-3 on the D string, resolving again to that G note on the D string 5th fret. So that's a G minor pentatonic riff. You can do that one, or you can do anything at all that you can come up with that's in G minor pentatonic. The very last segment before the key change is really cool, and I've never seen this anywhere else. But we're going to do the D string 5th fret. Then we're going to bend the G string 3rd fret up a half step, and then we're going to play that note that we just bent up to, but on the 4th fret. And then we're going to play the 5th fret and give it a full step bend, and then play the E string 3rd fret. I'm keeping that move. And then we noodle around on G 5 and 3 and the D 5 and 3 before we hit the A chord. That's the key change. So and here, blues rock guitar move number 1 in the book is employed. It's going to be an A chord. And then the D string is going to go up to 4. You can just make this a 2-note chord if you want. You don't have to keep that going if you just strum the A and the D strings. Up to 5, back down to 4. That's 1. And I want to show you how when we're on open A, D5, that's an A7 chord. Now, if you think back to when we did G7, either normal or with the F in the bass, the root note of G is G, and F is 1 whole step lower than G. So a universal truth here that we can derive is that the note that makes a chord a 7 chord is 1 whole step or 2 frets below the root. So A's 7 note, if we think of this A on the E string 5th fret, must be G. The note that makes A7 is G, and what do you know? If I use my octave trick to figure out what note the D string 5th fret is, it's whatever the E string 3rd fret is, and that's G. So here we have a little 2-note A7 chord, and along those lines, another thing that happens during this key change A section is A, 7 with a G in the bass. A slight variation on that kind of made me chuckle. I really like this. It's the same thing. It's A to A7 with the G in the bass, but when we're going to do the bump, the pause, right, he hammers from E3 to E5, which I thought was really fun. And towards the end of the A segment, before the next key change, he's just going to hang on to the F-shaped A, so this is F-shaped F, this is F-shaped G, and that's F-shaped A, and if you put your pinky finger on the G string, that becomes an A suspended 4, and he just does this for quite some time. And why not do the thing we did down in G land, the slightly more fleshed out version of the first riff, right? So I don't forget the rhythm. There it is. So the first key change brought us from G land up to A land, up 1 whole step, and the next key change brings us from A land to B flat land, and I'm about 99.98% sure that the B flat that Pete is playing is just your A shape on the 3rd fret instead of the 2nd fret. Now when you do it, you can't strum the A string because that's not the right note. So just mute the A string, and of course he's going to play B flat with an A flat in the bass. B flat 7 with an A flat in the bass, excuse me. And also we're going to see the first blues rock move in the book also in this section. Now this isn't going to sound so full because we don't have the luxury of the open A string being the right note, so just do your best. Hold your A shape on the 3rd fret, and the D string is going to go up to 5, up to 6, and back down. You can pull it off if you're gutsy. And there's a B flat move in the B flat section that made me giggle as well. It's going to be your B flat to your B flat 7 with an A flat in the bass, but when the pause comes, rather than do the hammer on like in the G to A section, he's just going to bend that 7 note and release that bend like this. And in the end of this section, before the next key change, he's going to grab his F-shaped B flat now. So we've got G, A, B flat on 6, 7, 8, and do the suspended 4 thing. But why not do, you know, the move we talked about? We've made it to the end. So the song started in G. It proceeded up to A, a whole step, then a half step to B flat, and the end of the song, the whole end, is one whole step further yet up to C. I'm going to play the C bar chord here on the 8th fret, because that's where I think it's being played, but you play any C you like. And then I'm going to play the F, the A-shaped F bar chord here on the 8th fret of the A string. I'm going to keep the C in the bass. That's okay. I think that might be happening. I'm going to do it. And you just kind of do this until the end of the song. And about this song being a template to jam over. In the Live at Leeds section, they started doing the G and the F thing. They proceeded up to the A with the G in the bass thing, and then the whole rest of the song, the end, the whole jam section for however many minutes was D and C add 9, so or D7 with a C in the bass, whichever way you want to think about it. So entirely different. The song that kind of breathes and evolves with the artists who do it, and it's just an opportunity for everybody to have some fun. So I hope you thought that was fun. I sure did. My vocabulary, so to speak, has expanded. So everybody say it with me. Thank you, Uncle Pete. And thank you so much for being here. If you think a playthrough would help your learning process, you will find exactly that on my Patreon page. And of course, I will see you next time with more stuff. Goodbye.